All right, everyone, we have a bunch of news to bring you today in regards primarily to Nintendo Switch 2, one big story on Switch 1, and yeah, we'll be talking about the Mario Galaxy movie as well. So what possibly could we be trying to get into? Well, there's obviously some release of some new products that regard Switch 2, but besides that, we have brand new game announcements that we need to make sure we get out there and recap for you guys. We have possibly even more announcements coming your way with a brand new event for Kingdom Come Deliverance coming tomorrow. So really got to pay attention to that one. There's some early indications that Pokopia might actually be a system seller for Switch 2. So we kind of touch on that one as well. And, you know, we talked about, Mario Galaxy movie and all of that. What about the fact that, well, Nintendo has essentially issued an all-out assault on Switch emulators. So we got to talk about that as well. Not that that should really be anything new, but this is a pretty big level Nintendo's going to here. And you have to wonder, is anyone going to challenge them? Or is the internet just going to do its thing and say, yep, we'll take them all down and just release 50 more copies of it? Anyways, before we dive into all of this, I want to remind you we're on a road to 200,000 subscribers. So if you're enjoying the content, first-time viewer, all of that, or hey, maybe you just forgot to subscribe in the past and now you really want to stay up to date on everything we're talking about here, all you gotta do is subscribe to the channel, help us on our goal there, and besides that, we're just gonna get right to the news. No, I was not going anywhere with that, I promise. All right, so our very first story we're going to talk about here is about the Nintendo Switch 2 JoyCon 2s, or really the new set. I just want to remind everyone, the same way Nintendo Life did here, that these colors have come out this week. So the updated JoyCon 2 controllers have easy-to-use motion controls and HD Rumble 2, along with new C button for easy game chat. This set includes with the left and right Joy-Con, along with a pair of Joy-Con 2 straps, perfect for multiplayer. And you can kind of see what it looks like when it's connected to the system. You can see, obviously, even a slight little color in those gaps there, and obviously around the sticks. So yeah, it just gives you a little bit of personality with your Switch 2, but obviously the way these colors are so subtle, where it's not like the shell or even the buttons that get changed, but just where the colors were on the original Joy-Con 2s, it's like a subtle style rather than a bold statement. But I guess that's where skins can come in and all that. And you might be thinking, man, Nate, you must be about to transition to a sponsorship from like D-Brand or something. And actually, no, we no sponsors today. You know what we do have, though? We do have a look at the Virtual Boy accessory. It's already in some people's hands, and it turns out it has some additional functionality as well. Let's dive into it here, though. We'll see the gallery for it. So you can, click on this. This is what it looks like when you get it in the box. That's the top of the unit. That's the side of the unit. That is obviously one of the adjusters for the tilt up and down. And here it is with the red eye filter. And I kid you not, this is Super Mario Odyssey here, but this is a filter, because you're going to see here, there it is without the filter. There it is where you're sliding your Switch 2 in or Switch 1. And there is the red filter. And there it is when you take the filter off. So pretty interesting, right? Pretty interesting. And, made in China. No real surprise there. Made in China. You can see the stand there as well. Now, what was interesting is obviously finding out that this can be used for pretty much all of the VR games that currently exist on the Nintendo Switch or Switch 2. So the main point is that it works to a degree. You can boot up the VR mode in Odyssey, and it lets you view stages just like you could with the Labo VR set. The main issue is that you can't really control Mario at the same time. So unless you're willing to fashion a really big rubber band around your head to keep the headset locked in place, it's not really ideal. But yeah, it does technically work. So take that for what you will, guys. This is obviously, next week where we're going to be getting Virtual Boy games added to the Nintendo Switch 2 NSO. And yeah, we just have to wait for it, I believe, on the 17th. Next up, I just wanted to share this story here. A little some recaps, really, from the state of play yesterday for new game announcements coming to Switch or Switch 2. First of all, though, is the Rayman 30th Anniversary Edition. Arrives this week, and yeah, comes out today. And what's really cool about this one is there's a point in the video where they show off what is essentially a prototype of a game that really never came out, and they actually finished that prototype to release it in this collection. That part I find to be really cool. Next up, we're going to be talking about a game here that I'm stupidly excited for, and we're probably going to be even interviewing one of the key members of the team for it, and that is Mina the Hollower. That's right, it got a new trailer during the State of Play, and now it is expected to release, well, as it said on that original headline of My Nintendo News, it's going to be releasing in spring 2026. Again, still no exact release date, but lets me know it's going to be in the first half of this year. So that is really cool. You know what's also really cool? How about the 40th anniversary of Castlevania? So there was a Castlevania announcement that happened during the showcase here. So, you know, they got Castlevania Belmont's Curse, which, yes, is coming to Nintendo Switch. But now there's an anniversary page, and here's what it says. The doors of Castlevania open once more. This year marks the 40th anniversary since the original, you know, Castlevania first saw, or Dracula, sorry, it says Dracula first saw the light of day. In this commemorative year, Castlevania will be revived. First up's the title, Belmont's Curse. We couldn't think of other studios to work on it rather than Evil Empire and Motion Twin Studios, brimming with talent and passion to deliver a new exploration-based 2D action game that captures the essence of Castlevania while bringing fresh innovation. This is the beginning of numerous new products around Castlevania before the return of the magnificent nightmare lurking in the darkness that comes from the series production team. Now, as we look at the webpage itself, man, it does end up looking pretty cool. I gotta say, they did a pretty good job with the webpage. They got the video of it there. There's your 40th message, your information. I really like how this loads. Now, I also have a really nice computer, so maybe this doesn't load as well on mobile or on lower end like Chromebooks or something, but works well for me. Anyways, yeah, it looks really cool. I really like that 40th anniversary page. Obviously, we have that game announced. That's not the only, game announced in classic franchise coming back. How about the fact that Metal Gear Solid 4 is finally getting off of the PlayStation 3? So Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2, and there's going to be a physical version, although it's game key card on Switch 2. Anyways, full physical on Switch. It does have Metal Gear Solid 4 and 2. So after multiple reports of a second collection, it's actually coming out on August 27th, 2026. And this is really, really cool. Now, what we also know about this is the size of it. So for the physical version, which again, game key card, this is for Switch 2, is 30.4 gigabytes. So 25.9 gigabytes, that is Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of Patriot Master Collection version. And then the 4.2 gigabytes is Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker with some bonus content being about 0.3 gigabytes. For the Switch physical version, well, you know, you don't really have to do anything because it's literally front loaded onto the cartridge a little bit. Because unfortunately, the Switch version requires the download as well. So minimum space required, 17.3 gigabytes. Front loaded onto the cartridge is only 5.3 gigabytes. So Metal Gear Solid 4, again, 8.3. Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, 4 gigabytes, 0.3 gigabytes of bonus content. It's pre-installed on the cartridge, and you can play it without downloading. Now, there is a note here where it says it is pre-installed on the cartridge, you play without downloading. That 5.3 gigs, that probably is Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. It's probably fully on the cart because that is not enough gigabytes for Metal Gear Solid 4. So that's what I'm assuming here. Obviously, we don't have the physical versions on hand to know. We're really happy that Metal Gear Solid 4 is getting off. It's coming to other platforms as well, of course. And literally, when they announced this, they also updated the Volume 1 collection for Switch 2, which, you know, upped resolution and all of that jazz. So, hey, really, really happy for Metal Gear Solid getting the attention it needs. And how about this? How about a Legacy of Kain? Yeah, you heard me right. Legacy of Kain coming back. So here's a trailer here. I'm obviously on Nintendo Life, and I'll just read what it says here a little bit. Legacy of Kain Defiance Remastered is a timeless dark fantasy reborn for a new generation. Return to the dark world of Nosgoth as you take control of both the vampire Kain and his betrayal lieutenant Raziel, two powerful entities bound by the conflict between fate and free will. And then a prequel to Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, Legacy of Kain Ascendance, is going to be a fast-paced 2D action platformer built around vertical movement, fluid combat, and sky-driven gameplay with PS1 era-inspired 3D sequences. Story and narrative are key to the experience, woven directly into the gameplay, cutscenes, and world design. Beautifully crafted retro pixel art gameplay and anime-focused cinematics bring Nosgoth's dark fantasy world to life, telling a new story in a vast world of collapsing kingdoms, haunted ruins, and shattered timelines. Sorry, the more I read that, the more and more I really wanted to get into it. The remastered, Defiance Remastered, that one's coming out on March 3rd, and the brand new game, Ascendance, that one's coming out on the 31st of March. So they're both coming out in the month of March, but really excited for the future of Legacy of Kain. I really enjoyed those trailers, and so, yeah, we're just going to kind of move on. I did mention that there is going to be a Kingdom Come Deliverance event. I don't know if it's going to be related to Nintendo Switch or Switch 2, but Kingdom Come Deliverance is on Switch. So February is a month of celebration. Join Sir Toby28 and ProCop tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. Pacific, so 9:30 p.m. my time, for a special anniversary stream. And it just says hashtag Kingdom Come Deliverance. So, this doesn't necessarily mean this is about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, as you're seeing, is what their account is named now, but there could be some DLC coming. There could be some updates coming, some remasters. What if there's a new platform announcement? I'm just saying. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 on Switch 2. Just will this into existence, and that's why the story is here. Next up, we got to talk about Pokopia, not because we have more information here. The preview's already happened. Rather, because it does appear there is some expectation from experts that it could be a Switch 2 system seller in March. So this article from the game business talks about a lot of things, including High Guard. But this is what we have to get here as we scroll down and get to the Pokemon Pokopia system seller part. So regular readers and listeners to the game business will know I've had a slight obsession over the Switch 2's relative lack of must-have exclusive games. People buy Nintendo consoles for Nintendo games, and although there's clearly been a large contingent of Switch 1 players who want a more powerful machine to play their favorite games on, and he's one of them, what about everyone else? Donkey Kong Bonanza is incredible, but Donkey Kong isn't the biggest Nintendo brand. Mario Kart World has a lot of promise, but there are 70 million people with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which some might argue is actually a better game. The rest of the big Switch 2 releases have either been relatively niche, Kirby Air Riders, Star Wars Age of Prisoner, or they're also available on Switch 1 in Legends ZA and Prime 4. We're waiting for that next Mario, Zelda, Animal Crossing, or Smash Bros. The kind of games likely to attract a broader audience to Nintendo's new machine. Switch 2 sales numbers are good right now, but I feel Nintendo could do with 1, 2, or more of those huge franchises arriving before the year is out. But what if it's something else entirely? Such as the new Pokemon spinoff that's coming up in a few weeks. Pokemon Pokopia. Pokemon spin-offs can be quite hit and miss, both in terms of quality and commercial performance. But on paper, this sounds like it ticks all of the trend boxes. It's Pokemon. It's a cozy game. It looks like Minecraft. Plays a little like Animal Crossing. It's like someone wrote down the ultimate Switch game, and it's exclusive to Switch 2. None of that matters if it isn't well made, and Pokemon games have struggled with that in recent years. However, the previews that came out this week have been full of praise and optimism. One journalist told me yesterday that despite not being the biggest Pokemon fan, he didn't want to stop playing Pokopia when he was given the chance a few weeks ago. Another said, I fully expect it to consume my year. According to the US data firm Circana, Pokopia is number 5 on its purchase intent tracker. But for a game of this type, it's unlikely we'll get a true sense of what it might do until closer to launch. 2022's Pokemon Legends Arceus received such a late surge in interest that Nintendo hadn't manufactured enough boxed copies, and the game initially sold out. It's certainly one that he'll be keeping an eye on. This is really interesting to me because Pokemon Pokopia, no one really knows how big the audience is here. Is the cozy game, because the cozy game audience is quite large. We see it with Animal Crossing at 50 million in sales. Is that audience going to adapt this game at $70? Is that audience going to find the gameplay so addictive that word of mouth gets out that, hey, even though it's 70, actually the game is really, really good and worth that money? It's not my kind of game, so it's really hard for me to throw these kind of predictions out there, but I have talked about for a few days how it kind of feels like this could be a system seller. Potentially, it is exclusive and only available on Switch 2. It does come out before the end of this fiscal year. And also, if we think about how we keep talking about how Nintendo needs a big game and they need this, well, Nintendo maybe knows what they're doing here, because Pokopia might actually have been that second big game to drop in the fiscal year outside of launch. They just didn't put it out during the holidays. Have to see. I'm very curious how this game does. It does come out early next month, so we'll have to wait and see. Again, this could end up being a sleeper banger. That's despite some people being mad that it's a game key card. Next up, hey, this is kind of a neat story, not just because this game is awesome and I've seen it many a times. We're going to be talking about Darwin's Paradox, but because Part of the reason the story came across the desk is due to one of our very own moderators. But let's go ahead and get in here. Darwin's Paradox coming to Switch 2 on April 26, 2026. April 2nd, sorry, 2026. And there's like new stuff, and there's a demo out now. It's going to be on, Switch 2, PS5, Xbox Series, PC, etc., right? And there's, a demo literally out right now. You can play it on Switch 2 right now. What I do like about this story, though, is this game looks absolutely incredible, by the way. Again, no reviews are out yet. As we shift back to Go Nintendo, is this part of the bottom. Thanks to Tall Show for the heads up, and was already confirmed on our member Discord server. It is the Tall Show that some of you guys might recognize from our live streams. He is a moderator on the channel. So really interesting to see that like my community is helping get news to some of these, major publications out there. It's easy enough to get news to me. They can just literally put it in my Discord server or just tell me about it. But I find it interesting when like they're also helping get the word out to other news entities. Kind of a first, I think, at the channel, showing that, hey, I guess even you guys out there are having an impact in the news cycle. Next up, we talk about the Mario Galaxy movie. A few things. One, we got some new posters, and yes, we have our first look at an exclusive popcorn bucket that looks really cool. So first up, we're obviously here at the Super Mario Galaxy movie page, and we're scrolling down and see some posters here. So we have one that just got posted 43 minutes ago. They've been doing one seemingly every hour, so there could be more coming. As of the time of this video, we have this Rosalina movie poster here. The stars of a new story, Rosalina, make her royal debut in the Super Mario Galaxy movie, only in theaters April 1st. And look at this, guys. It looks incredible. Like, the Lumas and everything. Rosalina's looking badass. This just looks so damn good. Okay, we're not done though. We have another poster here. This one of Peach and Toad. So let's go ahead and open this one up here. And you know what, guys? This looks incredible. And it says, always looking out for the little guy. Princess Peach and Toad return for more adventure in the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Yeah, man. Look at this. You see this planet back here? Is it possibly a little Delfino action? I don't know. You can see the stuff going on here. That's why I'm like, it is what it is. Game Bird might have called this from our podcast. But anyways, looks really, really cool. Absolutely incredible. Just get you a little bit bigger look there. But let's go ahead and go back here and get to our next one. And this one is just Bowser being a bad ass. He's got an axe or two to grind. Bowser is back to the Super Mario Galaxy movie, only in theaters April 1st. Yeah, man. These are, by the way, a classic throwback to some old school Mario, bringing the axes back. Super, super happy to see that. I'm sorry. Did you think we were done? My bad. We have Luigi. That's right. Luigi conquering his fears, no bones about it. Luigi is back for the Super Mario Galaxy movie, and there we go. You're seeing obviously a look that we saw in the last trailer, where this is clearly that place inspired from Mario Odyssey. So that is really awesome, and we're not done because this one was also 4 hours ago. You can see same hero, new adventure, Mario Returns to Super Mario Galaxy, doing the classic Galaxy spin attack. Really happy to see that. Got some hammer stuff going on, the key to, and all the rest. This is just, guys, I'm so excited for this movie already, the way things are shaping up. And they've been advertising a bit here. They have the Lumas doing this thing. I got to be careful how much of this stuff we show because all of that stuff ends up getting copyright striked. But guys, I am thrilled for this movie. I can't wait. I'm going to be there day one. And there's actually one other thing we're going to show off that we actually can talk about since I can't really show footage. And that is the Yoshi popcorn buckets have leaked. That's right. Here you go. The popcorn bucket extraordinaire. It's going to be at AMC Theaters, Regal, and Cinemark. I'm really hoping it comes to my local theater, which isn't a national brand, but sometimes they get some of these things as well. Oh man, I really hope I'm able to get my hands on one of these without having to go to eBay. Because one, I'll use it for the movie. Two, I'll wash it out. And three, it'll just go on the set behind me. That's right. Maybe it goes back. Maybe it sits right here. I got a spot for it right here. Put Yoshi back there. Needs to happen. I don't know. I always think it's really cool when they do things like that. Obviously, it's always optional. Now we got to get to our last story. And this one, this is the kind of the one that drives like a controversial conversation online. So let's just give a brief history here. And we're not going to get into all the particular details. This is just really condensing down some rather big stories. Nintendo basically owns Yuzu and Ryojinx. That's right. 2 Nintendo Switch emulators Nintendo basically has ownership of. There was some lawsuit stuff, some stuff going on. They won with something against Yuzu. They went after Ryojinx. Ryojinx just, willfully gave it up to avoid things. So yeah, Nintendo owns the 2 most popular Nintendo Switch emulators, which obviously they promptly shut down the websites and all the download links to. So these emulators were basically open source, and anyone in the past could just do whatever they want with them. And Nintendo is now using the fact that they own these emulators and using the fact that they think emulators should be illegal to get everything shut down on GitHub that was ever a spinoff of these emulators, at least according to the reports popping up over here on emulation on Android, which is a weird place that's happening at. Because like the Switch emulator place isn't talking about it much, but there's some evidence of this. So tomorrow, most repos on GitHub will be taken down due to a DMCA from Nintendo. And there is like a link to the DMCA, which is actually rather boring. It's just like questions Nintendo filled out, but you can go check it out if you want. They got confirmation as well coming from different Discord servers of people running these emulators. So you get the point. Nintendo is basically going after and taking out a ton of emulators. I mean, it's a really massive amount. I think I saw over like 100 links in the documents that Nintendo filed. So it's actually kind of wild. You guys know I'm not really big in the emulation scene. So outside of like official emulation that happens on consoles, I don't really dabble in actual like emulation, like loading up an emulator on my PC and playing a Switch game or playing an N64 game or playing a DS game. I don't do that stuff. I'm not saying I've never done it. It's just been a lot of years. I kind of swore it off a long time ago for my own personal reasons, but it's one of those things where there's a lot of legal gray area around this. Some stuff has been legally defensible, like emulators can exist, but then Nintendo kind of won on this basis with Yuzu. Not that the emulator couldn't exist, but that the emulator couldn't operate without access to these key codes. And these key codes are literally protected under IP protection for Nintendo. So no one can actually have those codes unless they obtain them illegally. And so therefore, the fact that this thing needs these things for it to work, the encryption keys is what we're really talking about here. Yeah, the emulators can't function. So Nintendo won on the basis of not that emulators can't exist, but that they can't be using the encryption keys. So I do find that really interesting that that's kind of how Nintendo sort of won the case. That doesn't mean like NES, N64, DS. Like there's a lot of these older platforms that didn't have these encryption keys built in, and ergo, there's no issue with those emulators. That's why Nintendo can't take them down. But Switch games do, and that is why Nintendo was able to get Yuzu and able to get Ryojinx. Now, neither one of them pushed Nintendo to the absolute brink to set like a full legal precedent, but you could understand where Nintendo, at least based on just rough reading the laws, probably had something to stand on due to the use of their encryption keys. That being said, guys, it's really interesting. We know Nintendo is anti-emulator, and they're going after all the offshoots. Good luck. That's all I can really say, because it's the internet. And the biggest thing, and like no one seems to really be overreacting too hard to this, is because Nintendo could take down 100, 300 more will pop up tomorrow. It's basically, once it's at this level, you can't stop it. The code's been out there for too long. Too many copies of it exist. People are just going to edit it a bit, rebrand it, re-release it. It's literally never going to go away. So Nintendo's basically fighting a losing battle, but they are making it a bit more annoying for people who want to get the emulators and don't already have a copy. They are making it a bit more annoying for them to keep having to pay attention to when these emulators pop up. But there are tons of Reddits and other forums and other places that are always tracking when new emulators appear, and you can click on the links to download. So yeah, my stance is I don't really emulate games, so this doesn't affect me, but I understand that people that do, especially when it comes to some countries where the games aren't even sold natively in those countries. That's one thing. And then also beyond that, sometimes the prices are just astronomical. And we're not talking about like $80 games. There are some countries where like to buy a game, it's $1,000. That is just such an unrealistic ask. So I kind of understand in situations like that. Then there's obviously certain third world countries and all of that where, the idea of owning a game console ever to play any of this stuff is like so far from your mind, because you're just kind of worried about where your next meal is coming from. So yeah, I'm not anti any of this. You guys can make whatever choices you want. I'm not going to judge you for it. You do you. I just don't do it. That said, I don't know. I just don't know why Nintendo, like, I understood why they went after the two most popular ones, I guess, on paper. Like, it's just a losing battle. So I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts on all these stories down below. We'll be live tonight. It is Friday the 13th, baby! That's right. So, I don't know, maybe we'll do something a little special on our stream tonight. Oh, spooky. Or not. Catch you guys in the next one.